Welcome back, Saints fans, to OPPO View. My name's Jayden, and here we are to dissect this week's game, round 7 against the Power at Adelaide Oval. Prime time again, Friday night, blockbuster, under the lights. The pressure's on. Let's just put it there. The pressure's on. We didn't deliver last week, so let's have a look to see how we can change that going forward, especially starting this week against the Power. So I like to class the Power similar to GWS. They like to run in waves. They've got a really strong midfield in regards to not only from a contested standpoint, but then getting the ball on the outside, getting the ball into their forward line, and really opening it up to their forward targets. Charlie Dixon had a rest last week against the Pies. He'll look to come back. He's hit and miss sometimes. When he's on, he's definitely one of the form players of the competition. When he's off, he can be sometimes a liability as well. So in that aspect, we hope that it's the latter, and that way it's a lot easier for our defence, who's been a little bit under the pump in the last few weeks. Not entirely their fault. I think majority of the blame has to come from the midfield, but there's not going to be a harder time for our midfield to stand up and show that they can deliver than this Friday night. You look at the Port Adelaide midfield. I'm just going to run off some names: Rosie, Horne-Francis, Wines, Butters, Willem Drew, Travis Boak, Dan Houston. They've got such a mixture, a different range of combinations that they can put into that midfield lineup to exploit ours. And at the moment, it's extremely easy to do. It's not hard at all. So that's going to be the task this week: how to minimise their explosiveness, including stopping Horne-Francis, who I think is their most damaging, as well as Rosie and Butters. They're the three for me. If we can contain them, then that's going to go a long way to getting the 4 points. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, we've got this in the bag, because after last week's performance, if we play like that against Port, we're going to lose by 70, 80 points. So let's see what we can do in regards to how they play and sort of what we can do to stop them. So contested and uncontested possessions and disposals in general, we're higher than them so far. So we rank 9 in contested possessions. They're actually 15th. For such a tight-knit group midfield team that they've got, that's a really low number, and I was actually quite surprised when I saw that. 14th in uncontested possessions. Not surprised by that, because they do like to sort of get in the contest, and once they get it, they just get it going forward. They don't stuff around with the ball. They don't sort of get cheap possessions. As soon as they're in the middle, they win it in the hunt, and then as soon as they get it out to a Butters, a Rosie, they just kick it into their forward line. They've got the understanding that the quicker they get it in, the easier it is for them forward lines to set up, to create an open opportunity, and it's harder for the defence to actually set up and get into a formation that's going to stop that. That's something that we need to be wary of, because that's where we've been caught out over the last couple of weeks, is quick entries, fast entries, and our defence are just caught, I don't want to say caught napping, but they are caught off guard in the fact that they're too far behind. And for some reason at the moment, where we've got our defenders playing in front, but our attackers playing from behind. Whether that's just the way it's working out, or if that's a tactic, I really hope not, because it's not a good look. Another area that is a concern, as I mentioned already, I'm going to focus on the midfield, because their midfield is absolutely elite. I think it's the best midfield in the comp, especially when you can have the Butters kick a goal to a game, Rosie kick 2 or 3 a game. Dan Houston's a threat from anywhere but from 60 metres out. Horne-Francis is a good target. He can spend a bit up forward and kick a goal or two. So they've got such a strong midfield group. Centre clearances, they're third in the competition. Saints fans aren't going to be surprised. We rank 15th. And that's just the story of our year so far. We've been extremely inconsistent in that regard. What I also like from Port Adelaide's standpoint that I need us to fix is our turnovers. We're currently second in the league for most turnovers, which is disgusting. We saw Thursday night how our skills are just awful, but how damaging it can be on the other end. I think the Bulldogs would have scored about 60, 70 points from turnover. If we allow Port Adelaide to do the same, game over. There's no shying away from that. That is one area that we need to look into. And defensively, again, marks inside 50. They rank number 1. We need to get back into our intercept game. Josh Battle, Callum Wilkie. Callum Wilkie, I think, has been extremely disappointing this year so far. Dougal Howard, I would assume, will come back in. So that gives him a chance to get against his old side to sort of show, look, I'm still here. I can still play AFL football, quite competitively as well. So some key matchups that I want to look forward to. Look, I can go through any of the midfield and just, spit out a couple of names. I'd like Steele to go to Rosie. I think Steele's been our best player. I think he'd be leading our best and fairest. If not, it would only be behind Brad Hill. So I think his impact, his importance, but also his leadership as well. I'd like to see him a little bit more vocal, a little bit more in your face as a leader to say, look, what we saw last week, and I know he did a little bit of a presser for the Saints Football Club, but he said it wasn't what we want to stand for, it wasn't the look that we want to present. Now's the time to show it. No bigger stage. Friday night, Adelaide Oval, you're away. Pressure's on you to sort of bring a result back. Otherwise, it's nearly season over. What better way to put that into a context to go up against one of the top players of the league so far in Rosie and put a little bit of a towel on him and really get the upper hand. Another one I do like is Mitch Georgiades. I really wish we had it gone for him. I think he'd complement Max King absolutely perfectly. But Josh Battle on Mitch Georgiades, 2 aerial threats. If Battle can get the upper hand there, get some really strong intercept marking, then that's going to be a massive key to getting us the ball forward and starting to use it a lot better than what we are, because it is something that's just absolutely atrocious at the moment. 2 more matchups. Miles Bergman, again, St Kilda chased him I think it was either last off-season or the one before, and for good reason. He's a very solid player, really good wingman, runs up and down all day, can use the ball really well and is damaging on the scoreboard. Brad Hill, I've loved his work so far this year. I think he's really taken a step into that leadership aspect and sort of given us a throwback of the reason why we traded for him in the first place. His speed, his ability to sort of control the tempo, realising the moment. There's been multiple times over the last couple of games where he's the one that's been instigating, let's move the ball, let's go fast, let's actually take the game on. Because as soon as we start holding it back and being cautious, that's when we make mistakes. I'd rather Hill demanding the ball and kicking it at 65 metres and putting it into a forward area where our small forwards can do something, rather than chipping it around and then causing a turnover and they get an easy goal. So Brad Hill's been key. I like that matchup against Bergman. The last one, I think they'll go with Radaglia, just from a contest point of view, against Max King. Max King need a massive game. Had the week off. From what I heard, it was more just a precaution, given that it was a 5-day turnaround. He's got an extra, 7 days now from last Thursday. So a big time off, time for him to get back in and show us what he's really made of. Get back to his aerial prowess. Against the Pies, it was really good. I thought against Richmond, it wasn't his game, so not too concerned there. But I'd like to see him get back to it and kick a big bag as well. 3 or 4 goals. He's had some really good matchups against Radaglia previously, against when he was playing for the Cats. So some really, really strong chance for him to continue that. But also look for Aaliyah to spend a bit of time for him as well this week. So it's a tough ask. I'm not going to sit here and say that we're going to get the win. It is a extremely tough ask to go to Adelaide and beat Port. If we want to get to where we want to get to, we need to start showing a better football from this point onward and start kicking some goals, get the ball rolling on our season. So stay with us, Saints fans. It's going to be a great game on Friday night. Don't forget to check out Jake's review after the game on Friday night, and hopefully we have the 4 points. So let's go, Saints.